Here we have a MacBook that needs to be fixed. This is an A1398 Macbook Pro. Let's take a look at what's going on with it by opening it up and seeing how we can make it work again. The issue claimed here is no backlight. Let's take a look and see why there may be no backlight. The first thing we're going to do is see if there's a short circuit to ground on our backlight line. The next thing we're going to do is try to get Paul Daniels' multimeter software to function. Easier said than done. 10 ohms. Okay, now we're going to unplug the screen and see if there's still a short. When the screen is not plugged in, there is no short. Bad screen or screen cable. The 2012 Retina 13-inch was a complete abortion of a computer. The 15-inch was decent, but has the problem with the board flexing inside the case. And then your GPU gets no vCore. Lovely design from our friends at Apple Inc. Alright, this is the part that I hate. I don't unplug all this shit. I hate this little section inside the machine over here. This is so annoying. Those things love to break. This wire as well. You have to be really careful. I'm not just pulling it out, I'm pushing down on the metal piece so that I can get some friction and then do that. So I'm not just pulling the cable, I'm kind of pushing on the connector and then doing that. So this is out. This is separate. I'm going to take this, put that stuff with the machine in the shelf. I'm going to take this display assembly apart. Alright, I forget how to take this damn thing off. I haven't done this in a long time. I should know. Taking it off is easy. Putting it back on is impossible. Pain in the dick. Alright, I'm sure I took that off without breaking it. Yeah, that should be just fine. That's just fine. I'm a talented man when it comes to taking these apart in a manner where they don't go back together. Alright, so let's see what we got here on the display assembly. Okay, let's touch that up. Box cutter wasn't particularly the kind thing to do. Would have been smart to remove that piece of tape first, but too late for that now. This is the little cable next to it for the backlight. And I forget which one is backlight, if it's pin 1, the one all the way on the left or the one all the way on the right. We'll see in a moment. So neither of those are shorted to ground. Now let's see what happens when we plug the LCD cable in. 8.4. Bad LCD cable. Now we're going to try a different LCD cable. That was typically, I believe that may be something you can buy on store.rossmangroup.com, but again, store.rossmangroup.com is not working at the moment. But hopefully it will be again soon. This is a pain in the ass to get these little pieces that go in the side of the clutch cover back in. Royal pain in the ass. I stayed here until about 1 last night, messing with the whole setup to get everything set up properly, so hopefully I don't get stolen from again. I don't have to deal with a thief. Alright, so we replace that, and we're going to see if we get a... Oh. Pfft. Yeah, that was smoke. Ooh, that was some nice smoke. Okay, that's interesting. So the display cable was not bad, but it just wound up... I mean, the display cable was bad, and I replaced it, and it just smoked. I saw smoke. And now we're back to 8.5 ohms. Interesting. Okay, so this screen, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but this screen has went up in price tremendously. So this thing used to be like $85, and now it's about like $300 to buy this stupid LCD by itself. So we're going to do what we can to try to save this LCD. Again, I wouldn't usually do this shit, but this fucking thing's expensive as hell. Now, I'm going to get a tip from my iron that's going to help me in removing that old connector. So over here I have the T15-1403 tip. I'll have to make an affiliate link for this thing later and put it in the description. It's a T15-1403 tip. It's much wider than the normal tip, and what this is going to allow me to do, being a super wide tip, is it's going to make it easier for me to remove this LCD connector. So watch this. So watch what we're going to do to this fucking LCD connector. This LCD connector is not going to know what hit it. Because remember, I can't use hot air on this. I cannot use hot air to remove that. Hot air is very, very bad right here. No hot air. Because it's right next to a screen, right? I need to remove this thing without getting any hot air disturbing my screen. This is going to be fun. See this? We're just going to bulldoze this. Bada bing, bada boom. Bulldoze. Being held on by this stupid thing over here. That was brutal. I could have used the smaller tip towards the end there for that little piece over here that wasn't coming off nicely, but it wasn't really necessary in this case. It was a brutal GTFO sold. I'm not overflowing this with flux because I don't need flux dripping into the damn LCD. Nope. No flux dripping into the LCD. This is the thinner wick. I should be using the thicker one, but that would require going back to the office and getting it. And well, yeah, I'm already working at what, 10:45 on a Friday night. I'll work at 10:45 on a Friday night, but I'll be damned if you're gonna make me get up. Hell no. I already got up once. That's not happening again. Yeah, we don't want any of this stuff leaking into the screen. Bad. I'm putting way too much effort into getting rid of all of the flux residue from the part that's not even connecting something important. Someone stop me, I'm being Paul. I'm being a perfectionist when I don't need to be. This is gonna bite me in the ass because I'm probably using too much alcohol. Yeah, I might as well use some of that screen cleaning material I have in the corner there before continuing forward with a microfiber cleaning cloth. We have this special screen cleaning formulation that we get. I forget the name of it, but we don't clean the screen with Windex or alcohol. We clean it with some screen cleaning stuff and a microfiber cloth. I'm going to do that now to make this all nice and dry up that corner. Alright, that looks beautiful. Don't want any alcohol residue on the screen. Even if it's just for a few seconds, that's too much for me. Alright, so the next thing to do is to get an LCD connector on there. Now the thing is, the LCD connectors I have are for the board side, and the board side LCD connector is going to have these two things on the bottom that I got to shave off. Okay, so I'm going to get myself the LCD connector that I need. And the tweezers that I don't know where I placed. Luckily I have another set. So our new LCD connector is on the desk, and I'm just going to remove these two little plastic pieces on the bottom. See, these, they got to go. So we're just going to burn that off. Just like that. And same for the other side. This is a painful thing to watch because you don't really want to. Usually when you're melting plastic while you're working on anything, it's not the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. In here, I'm doing it as part of the job. Yeah, let's just flatten that shit out. All right. Now we're gonna put the connector on the board, and it's gonna sit the way I tell it to sit. I think I just threw my connector on the ground. You little bastard, you tried to run away. It doesn't like being abused and burned, apparently. Imagine that. Okay, so a little bit of flux. I'm going to push down on each side as I'm doing the anchor pins because I need this to be really flat on the board. I also lost my tweezers again. Luckily I have even another set. I'm sure when I get up and get ready to go home I'm going to find multiple sets of tweezers all over the desk hiding somewhere. Okay, so this is this side. I'm going to push down as hard as I can. Make sure this is nice and aligned. Uh-oh, that was way too much solder. Shit. I'm used to the amount of solder that I need when I'm putting it onto a MacBook pad, and I just kind of screwed the pooch there a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Alright, good enough for rock and roll there, I suppose. And let's get rid of this piece here and do the next side. Push down nice and hard. Ah, shit. Need more solder on the iron. Okay, now I put some solder on the tip, but I also then emptied a bit of it into my cleaner because I don't want to put too much on this side like I did the last side. I'm pushing down hard. Again, I'm going to do the anchor pin. Okay, I'm going to push down as I do this anchor pin. Now remember, you want to, ideally you're at a point where you don't even need to solder the pins. That's not where we are here because this connector is not perfectly flat, but the ideal scenario is where the pins don't even have to be soldered because they're making such contact with the board, or it's pushed up against the board so hard it's already making contact without you having to do anything. The solder is simply there as, a safety. That would be the ideal. That's what you're going for in your mind, even if you can't necessarily achieve it. It shouldn't be that that the solder there's this large clump of solder between each pin and each pad. No, the pins should be touching the pads as hard as they can already, and then you're simply, just attaching them nicely with some solder. Here we got a nice little bath of solder going into each one. The last three are supposed to be tied together, but since I actually forget if it's the last three or the first three, I'm not going to leave it that way. Usually on a MacBook board I would. The last three are the 5 volts for the screen. Okay. Got a little bit of a bridge. Okay, so now I'm going to try another LCD cable because my old LCD cable is most likely now compromised. And I'm going to see what happens. And if the same thing happens again, then this thing is going in the garbage, and this customer will need a new display assembly, which they probably won't pay for. And again, we don't want alcohol on the screen. So we take a microfiber cloth. This thing's actually starting to get dirty because so many people have so many nasty, filthy screens. Put some screen cleaner on it. Not Windex, not alcohol, but screen cleaning fluid. Let's clean up that area. Just not going to use this part to clean it because that part's black. I'm using the clean section of the cloth to clean it. Happy screen, happy screen, happy screen. Alright, now we're going to take a new display cable. I'm going to measure the resistance before I plug it in and turn it on, and after I plug it in and turn it on. I mean, before turning it on and after turning it on. We're going to see. Now... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what the resistance to ground is on the backlight rail before I put power to this. Line. Line. 151 kiloohms. Fine by me. Okay, 151 kiloohms. So now we are going to plug in the screen. Now we're going to plug in power to the machine and see what happens and if it gives out a little puff of smoke again. Okay, it's plugged in, holding it steady. And it is booting with an Apple logo. So that is that. And that is how we refurbish a screen that is broken. So now usually, you could just replace, when this screen was $85, you could replace the screen. When the screen is $300, thank you, Apple, by the way. Thank you so much for making sure that LG, Samsung, and AU Electronics are happy to sell to people like us. When the screen's not available, then this is what you do. So the screen was, now our backlight rail was short as ground. It was between 2 and 10 ohms. So I tried taking a look at it, and when I unplugged the screen cable, it seemed like the short went away on the board, so that means the short was in the screen. So I unplugged the screen cable from the screen side, and the short did go away. And when I put a new screen cable there, I saw a little puff of smoke, and it destroyed my screen cable. So the other new screen cable I put in, so I replaced the actual LCD connector. Now, it's a bit difficult to replace the LCD connector because usually I would use hot air to remove it, and it's also difficult to... It's pretty difficult to get that LCD connector off of there with a soldering iron because, again, the connector's this wide, it's got a lot of pins. And that's where this HAKKO iron comes in handy because this HAKKO iron that I have, this is the 2027 HAKKO iron. You could find an affiliate link down below that if you click, I do make some money from. Thank you if you click. It's I can attach a lot of different tips to it, and HAKKO has a tip for just about anything. So this is a T15-1403 that I'll make sure to put a link to. That's T15-1403. I used to use this when doing graphics chip replacements in the 2011 MacBook Pro, back when that was actually something that we could do because we could get chips. And you could just go like this, and I heat up the entire connector along with all the pins at once and just plowed it right off. Again, towards the end, when there was that one little pin that didn't really want to leave, the right thing to do would have been to take this off, put the other tip on, rather than just plow through it. But I knew I could get away with it. I knew that that pad wasn't going to be going anywhere. And it's 10:45 on a Friday night. What do you want from me? It works. It's going to work for a really, really long time. And yeah, that's about that. And as always, well, I hope you learned something. With that, we're going to move on to the next machine.